Let's call to order the regular board meeting for July 23rd, 2024 at 4:44. Let's have roll call. Trustee Grist?
Aye.
Trustee Martinez?
Here.
Trustee O'Connor? Here. I am here, and Trustee Marks is not making it tonight. So, any comments for closed session? Any public comments?
There's nothing here.
In the phone? No? Okay, is there a motion to go to closed?
I'll make a motion that we go to closed session.
Okay,
Second.
okay, convening to closed session at 4:45. Okay, let's call the meeting back to order. Welcome, everyone. We're going to call the regular meeting of the Hollister School District in order. We are now in session at 6:08, and this meeting is being recorded. Please stand and join me in the flag salute. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, there are no closed session announcements. And item 8, approving the agenda.
I'd like to make a motion to pull consent item 12B for discussion, and then move to approve the agenda as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, roll call vote. Trustee Gris?
Aye.
Trustee Martinez?
Aye.
Trustee O'Connor?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. Passes 4-0. Okay, are there any public comments?
I don't have any here.
Any phone? Nope. Okay, no public comments. Item 10, reports. 10A, report on the Hollister School District Student Success Blueprint Chapter 4.
Good evening, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Sanchez. Thank you for making this happen tonight. I have before you the 4th chapter of the Hollister Blueprint, Student Success Blueprint. This is the summary of our, or the closure of all the chapters. We will do, update this live document year over year as things come about. Already in the process of editing it as it is. We just got back from the MTSS conference, and so we already have some ideas to augment the blueprint and add to it. So we're very excited to present that to you in the future. So we'll bring this to you again next month as an entire document. You can look it over, and but it is a live document. We will take suggestions, and it will always be adjusted as the need is and presented to you. So this is our shortest chapter. We have, this aligns with LCAP goal number 3, our parent engagement, which definitely goes well with our community schools. So you'll see that there is our philosophy of parent engagement, why it's important here, why we want to engage our families, the history and the research behind the importance of parent engagement. This is a priority, as you know, of ours to engage our parents on a higher level always and a more authentic level. So last time I reported that it was a delight to have 42% of the population, parent population, respond to our Kelvin Pulse survey. And so this is just, as we flip through these, you'll find the specific activities that we are planning for parent universities, our engagements at the site level and at the district level, our committees, the description and the purpose of our committees that we have. And then you'll find there the community schools description, and that is an area where we really hope to expand and go deep into this year. So while there might not be as much detail to this chapter, we really hope to augment it and expand on it, be more specific by schools, and describe our plans, because we have 5 community schools that we'd like to feature in this document, and as they are developing their programs, we'd like to showcase that and bring bright spots to each, because each has a different focus, each has a different need. As you know, all of our schools have their own culture and identity, so this is going to be really fun to just highlight what they have going on and what their needs are. So that is our chapter 4. It's real brief, but it is something that we are hoping that we can really expand on. We're looking forward to merging, really leaning on our migrant liaisons, our community school liaisons. Really great feedback from them, engaging our families, and then doing things at the district level and at the site levels. Questions?
More comments. In regards to our parent groups that we have, maybe a goal would be to get ourselves set up with a SPED parent group.
Okay.
That is in the plans?
Yes. And then in regards to, you know how we have those parent videos?
Mhm.
That, yeah, I didn't see them listed.
In the blueprint?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so the ones that are right when you open up the
Yeah,
website
right.
and go through.
Yeah,
Those
I
are right.
didn't see them listed.
Okay, well, we certainly can add that as a,
Okay.
thank you, yes, let's give ourselves credit, right? Yeah,
Unless you put it someplace else, I did not see it listed.
no, I think this was just more of like a 30,000 foot view. Like I said, we're gonna go deeper into this chapter, I just didn't wanna leave you all hanging for chapter 4, but I'm really looking forward to
Look
this.
at Pat or back.
Yeah, absolutely. I know those videos. Thank you, Jennifer Miller, for taking those on. She's doing a great job. She started the Spanish versions also, so she'll be
So
doing
we
this.
need to have that.
Good to know. Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Nope, thank you.
All
That was
right.
great.
Thank you.
Mhm. Well done.
Okay, item 10B, discussion of the 45-day budget revise with our CBO, Beth.
Thank you, board members. Good evening. I have provided for you at each one of your sites the PowerPoint for this evening and a pocket budget. We had some challenges with our agenda software last week, and while they were loaded, they didn't stick. So we'll make sure that these are both posted to the website by tomorrow morning so the public can see them as well. So we are required by Ed Code to review and contemplate whether or not there will be any changes to our adopted budget at least 45 days after the governor signs his, the actual state budget. So as we go to, let me see, can we do this? It is on. Huh? I hit both arrows and it's going nowhere. Oh, look at that.
Wow, that was
It took them
fast.
all at once.
Ta-da!
Yeah. So,
Did I blink?
as we generally do, let's take a look at the budget calendar. Where are we in the budget calendar? We've had our adoption. We are now looking at the 45-day revise. We are well within that 45 days, but our next scheduled board meeting is outside of that, so we're just going to look at it tonight. And the next time we talk about this will be in December for our first interim. So what has changed since we've adopted the budget? Well, not a lot. The state adopted budget had a cost of living of 1.07%, which was what we adopted. We knew about that ahead of time, and the legislature and the governor did not change it with the adoption. That also means that there's no change in our supplemental or concentration grant funding at this point. Should our unduplicated pupil count change, that's where more funding will come from, not because of a per student amount that we're going to be getting. Restricted revenue state programs continue to get the COLA as they were before, which includes special ed and child nutrition. Our special ed funding comes through the SELFA, so we have an estimate that was provided by the SELFA near the end of last year. We will have to wait until about December to figure out whether or not we're going to get more or less funding as it runs through that model, which takes into consideration all the students that are special ed funded, at which districts, where the breakdown is, what funding that we get. So we'll wait and see on that. I'm not anticipating anything significant to happen there. Expenses, as with previous years, we have no relief on the increases to PERS and STRS. There was actually no change in STRS, but PERS is creeping up to the point where the composite cost for a classified employee is inching up to about 40%, or 40 cents on every dollar. They are valuable, and this is just an indication of how valuable they are. TK Classroom, the adult to student ratio remains at 12:1 for this year, and next year it goes to 10:1. So that is not a change from last year, or from when we talked last. What has changed in the state budget, as I'm going on to the next one, unrestricted lottery. The estimates are up slightly. They always fluctuate when we started adoption to where we are at the very beginning of the year to where we'll end up being at the end of the year. They always change. I'm not making any changes, any significant changes at this point. We will see where we are when we get to first interim, and we'll make the changes at that point. There are no changes in other restricted funding from adoption. We just have to wait and see what's going on. Program changes, instructional continuity plan. This is something that you'll see coming to the board this fall. It's an offshoot of the governor's budget that he signed. He has a lot of things in there, and it's response to school closures. If your school is going to be closed due to an emergency, we have to be able to respond the first day with a plan. I'm not sure how functional or how logistical that will be, but the state is still working out some of the nuances of that. Independent study, recognizing the instructional continuity plan, those two are sort of dovetailed, and how are we going to be able to provide independent study in the case of an emergency. So those two will kind of come together. Learning Recovery Emergency Block Grant, there are new rules on the carryover of funds. Initially, the $8 million or so that the district got didn't necessarily have any expiration date on them. Now, your first set of monies that you get, if you don't end up spending it within 2 years, the state will take it back. It's a very similar thing with the Extended Learning Opportunity Grant. There are now carryover limits. There weren't before, but with this budget adoption, the legislature put in, if it's last year's money, you have to spend it by the end of next year, so you can even carry over for 2 years. That and the Learning Recovery are pretty much a response to districts who aren't running the program and still have the money, because both of these dollars were sent to school districts to run the program. They're also now requiring that you affirmatively say, I'm going to run the program, before they send you any more dollars. Well, we're certainly going to run it. We've got a fabulous program that we're running. The upside for districts like ours that are running the program is if there's carryover money, it goes back into the ELOP pot, or the Learning Recovery pot, and will be redistributed to those districts that are running the program. So in the future, there may be some more funds. At the current time, we're not seeing any more funds, and we are well aware and have built into our plans that we're spending last year's money this year and this year's money next year, so we're continually rolling forward, and that is twofold. We are attuned to making sure we don't send money back, and we want to make sure that as we go forward, any changes in the funding level, in the participation rates, in the cost of staffing or the cost of contracts, we have got a year to respond to. So we are really attuned to that, and I know that I work with Colleen and her staff in instructional curriculum and instruction department to make sure that we're planning appropriately for that. There are several other program changes that will go into effect in the 25-26 year, providing time for us to plan. We will roll those out to you over the course of this year so that we're ready for 25-26. So there's nothing to report at this time from the budget standpoint. What's next? Well, as usual, we're keeping a close eye on enrollment and staffing, verifying the enrollment needs before we're adding staff, verifying that planned position reductions from attrition are actually closed. In the case of this year, it's making sure that our replacements are placed into the appropriate vacant position due to retirements. As you remember, we did retirement incentives, so by the time we get to first interim, we may be able to report to you what the aggregate salary savings was from that. Monitoring all of the enrollment changes, whether or not it's enrollment changes at one school site versus another or at the district level. We wait to see their butts in the seats before we do anything affirmative for staffing if we can. Fine-tuning multi-year projections. where are we going? Are we going to have declining enrollment? Is our UPP going to change? Last year we went up, the year before that we went down in enrollment. Our UPP went down the year before, it went up last year. So we monitor those to see what their long-range effects are going to be. And COLA reductions due to a pending recession. Our COLA for this year was funded at 1.07%. The projection is that it'll go up to 3% next year. I am not projecting that. I need to wait until we get closer to see what that looks like. To anticipate that it's going to go up 3 times what the current amount is I think a little aggressive. I am not a financial planner, but I do know that I need to protect this district and help you do the same. So we're going to go out this very conservatively. We are planning for the implementation of new programs funded by various categorical programs. And as those come to fruition, or the programs that are going to be coming into effect in 25, 26, over the course of the next year, we'll be bringing those plans to you and talking to the board about it. And then in my department, we are working on closing the books for 23, 24 and establishing what the carryover amounts are. So at this point, I promised to stay within 10 minutes. I think I did that. I will take any and all questions you have at this point because now it's your 10 minutes and not mine.
Any questions?
Looks good. I appreciate everything you do.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you. You're great governance.
Can I give you an A+ for math?
All right.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Okay, item 11, superintendent's report.
I'm gonna grab the control over there. So. Okay. So, good evening. If I start my presentation as I did cabinet, it would go something like, dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to partake in a presentation. So here we go. It's been quite an eventful afternoon, but we are here conducting business, and I want to thank you for your time, and we're going to jump right in. This is a very scaled back report from what we typically see. And the reason why is we have a lot of good information that we'll be sharing in August. Our Aries has rolled over, so we have access to next year. We know what the numbers are currently, but that the enrollment would be inaccurate if I did not take into consideration the students that will come in August when the doors open. So the enrollment is loading. We will have the initial enrollment in August. I do want to remind the board that CBIDS takes place in October, which is what funds or helps the state to figure out a lot of our funding. We will be sharing more information as we move forward with that. The same information, I would say, goes with ADA. We did finish higher than what we had started off with, so that was good. We will continue that initiative and move forward with encouraging our students to come to school when appropriate. And I say that because I understand that students get sick and they are not in charge of getting themselves to school, and sometimes things come up. But we're working on that. I want to talk about some summer projects. We will be going more in depth into them in August and September because we want to have comprehensive reports to the board. Some of the things that we've finalized is our summer schools, both the SPED summer school and the Gen Ed summer school finished safely. We have upcoming reports that we'll be able to share with the board. Some of you were able to walk through the programs with me, and you got to see firsthand at the different dynamic programs that we had in place. So I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful to the staff that worked. Without them, we couldn't run these programs, and the admin that took time away from their summers to help run these. So it is definitely a team effort. We also have the summer IPD. That is our newly negotiated agreement with HESTA, where HESTA unit members are allowed to pick additional self-choice type of professional development on top of what they receive from the district. We do have unit members that have picked modules that they have found that interest them, that somehow are pertain to what they do within the district, that are participating in summer PD above and beyond what the district offers. So I would say major kudos to those that take the initiative to do that. I definitely value and understand staff's time in the summertime. Summer is summer, and I appreciate them taking part of that. I know that this is the first summer and the first launch of it because we've not had this before in the past. I do foresee this getting more popular as time rolls on and staff become more aware of this. So again, this is all tied to Goal 2 instructional leadership. Some more summer projects. Our amazing student nutrition program has supported community programs. For example, one Saturday, I can think of clearly, they were at the Junior Giants game and they served 600 hot dogs. And it was one of the hottest Saturdays that we've had. And so for our staff to pull together to complete these major projects just shows their willingness to serve the community as a whole. We don't have to serve Junior Giants. We don't have to do the community 18 and under nutrition program, but we do. And I really appreciate them, and major kudos to Anne and her team for pulling together. Even when it's those hot summers, they still roll out there and they still grill hot dogs for the students, and it's amazing. They actually had somebody that was running a Junior Giants game on Park Hill come to them close to the ECE Center and say, "Are you guys coming over here?" And so they're very famous, and the word spreads in the community. They're a hot commodity there with their service that they provide. Facilities and double facilities. If you see, I have facilities on there twice. The reason is because I cannot forget the major work that is happening across the district. We have tree removals, we have roofing projects that have finalized. Jan and I were walking back from HDLA to Mays. She's like, "Who's that person on the roof?" And I'm like, "I can guarantee you it's a roofer." She's like, "Are you sure?" And I said, "Yes, who else would be?" Thank you for keeping an eye out on our facilities, Jan. We have the vintage Sunny Slope Playground that's been up and done. We have parking lot projects that will go on. We have more tree service that will go on. We have the major cube projects that have happened or that are taking place. We have the groundbreaking, all of which we want to be able to really shine on and showcase via a special report of facilities by themselves as a standalone item. IT has been so busy, along with maintenance, getting these EduTVs out and about as a pilot program. We have outfitted the second grade class, Brandon and his team. They are truly a one-to-one right now. When he shares the numbers of what they have provisioned, what they've gotten out to the sites, it's amazing to think that a team can get things done so quickly and the vision that they have. Yes.
Is this the first year with the third graders that we're gonna start, that every third grader gets a new?
Last year.
Oh,
Last year was
the
third grade, so now this year we went down to second grade. But
the second graders will get the new Chromebook? I thought it was
fourth grade will get Chromebooks, right? The third grade?
Last year taking theirs to fourth.
Right.
Yes.
Second graders going into third.
We'll get a new one.
And this is the last year where we put Chromebook cards in every second grade classroom, one-to-one devices. Now we phased out TK to second.
Mm-hmm.
And so now going forward, third graders will always get a new device.
So IT, our director Johnson, will be reporting to the board in August. He's done quite a few things that he'll be showcasing, and thank you for jumping in.
So the 8th grade ones are gonna be rotated to K?
Yes,
They're already ready.
got them turned in,
Right.
already refurbished them, and they're actually in the second grade.
Oh, in the second grade, okay.
Mhm. So, pretty awesome.
I like the way we're doing it.
Yes. Forward thinking.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We're still promoting summer learning. We know that students are anxiously probably waiting to come back to school as they enjoy their summer. I say that lightheartedly. But we did, again, I just want to reiterate the fact that this is the first year that we actually put information out. Ed Services, thank you very much for putting information out. For those that are interested, they have had access to these summer resources all summer long. The families have had access to this in English and Spanish, and we hope that that has helped mitigate any learning loss. It is a beginning for us. We know that most definitely a seat in a summer school program is probably the best route, but for those that don't make it in, because we have limited capacity sometimes, this is the next best thing that we can offer. And then I want to thank everybody. Some folks have been working tirelessly to get us through the summer, to prepare for staff and students to come back, the remaining staff to come back in August. It is definitely something that you see as a system. It's a very much systematic approach as to how we need to, for example, the maintenance department, get all these work tickets done to prepare the facilities to receive the students and the staff. For student nutrition or ed services, the principals themselves have been working throughout their vacations as well to prepare themselves for a 24-25 school year. I'm really excited about that, and I'm looking forward to being able to report more in detail what we have. So, more to come. Any questions?
No. I think I'll say it now. I went to the summer school,
Mm-hmm.
and when I went to the SPED, to the extended learning summer school at RSS, there were, I don't know, about 8 to 10 kids, and there were like between 4 and 6 adults in each class. Every room we went into, the children were totally engaged. They were working very, very hard. And it was just, I mean, they were busy. I mean, they were doing what they were supposed to be doing. And I mean, it was a pleasure to see. When we went into my grandson's class, he didn't even know I was there. You know, we kind of snuck in, and he's just busy. He was busy, busy, busy. And that's the way it should be. You know, they weren't fooling around. They were busy.
Mm-hmm.
When we went to the Gen Ed summer school, we had the privilege of seeing, I can't remember, second grade, third grade?
It was,
I don't know.
I think,
Anyway, it was
Yeah.
lower grades, and they are reading school-wide a book. And those of us that, there's elements in language arts that we have to meet, you know, of course, reading and writing, thinking, speaking, and listening skills. And what they did is they went into the multipurpose room. There was a television set up, and it was the grade level of whatever grade we were looking at. They were littles, and they had their books, and there was a little bit of discussion before, and then and the principal was leading this, not the teachers, the principal. And they put on the chapter, and they were reading, and then they did a question and answer, Q&A. So here we've got the listening, we have the thinking, we have the speaking, and it was just so, the engagement was incredible, and the kids were excited about talking about it. I just thought it was just, they were really hitting everything that they needed to hit. And I'm sure they went back and either drew something or wrote something about the chapter that they did. And it's a series that they're doing, and I was very, very impressed. It was really good. And the kids weren't fooling around. They were very, very engaged.
And then at the ESY session that we went to that particular day, the students were tying the activities that day were tied to the assembly that they had just watched,
Oh,
which
yeah.
was the fire engine and the firefighters being on campus, sharing information with them. So,
They also did every class did a tie-dye. And it seems that my grandson did his the week before. So they were rotating that along so that every child would get a tie-dye shirt with their name on it. So.
Nice summer activities.
Really good. It was excellent. I don't know who was in charge. Whoever was in charge, they did a great job. The kids were totally engaged. It was a very productive, what I saw was very, very productive.
Okay. Item 12, consent items.
I make a motion that we approve consent items 12A through C and E through, sorry,
X. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, is there a roll call vote? Trustee Grist?
Aye.
Trustee Martinez?
Aye.
Trustee O'Connor?
Aye.
I'm an aye, passes 4-0. And discussion? Or no discussion on that? We just
I don't
pull
know how
it,
you want,
the D?
if you want to pull it into discussion, into our items for discussion action.
we could do
That's
that.
kind of how we can move it towards.
So then we have item 13, the minutes to consider for approval, and then we can have item 14
Okay,
or 12B
Okay.
become the first one.
yeah. Okay. Item 13, approval of board minute meetings for the regular June board meeting. Is there a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call. Trustee Grist?
Aye.
Trustee Martinez?
Aye.
Trustee O'Connor?
Aye.
I'm an aye, passes 4-0. Item 14, discussion action items.
Okay. So we can talk about it now.
Yeah.
Okay.
The item itself is consideration, now discussion and approval of contract with Jack Schrader and Associates. And our CBO Wilson will be able to provide us any information regarding the questions the board may have.
So Jack Schrader and Associates is a consulting firm that works with the district and has for a number of years to provide us with information, filing, direction, everything having to do with facility needs. And when I say that, getting down into a little bit more of the nitty gritty, in order to get funding for Rancho Santana, we have to show that we had eligibility in order for the state to get approved for state funding for their share of it, and then our share of it in order to match it. Well, they do the eligibility forms with us, guide us through how to do it, work them through the state of California in order to come back and then troubleshoot. Now that Rancho Santana is done, there's required reporting that needs to be done periodically. Now, we have already done one report on the hardship portion of Rancho Santana, and now we're doing the funding on the regular portion of Rancho Santana. And this is just an example of one of the things that they're helping us with, which happens to be live right now. And so in order to get our project approved through the state of California and then get them to write us a check, we have to provide all manner of things, contracts, board action minutes, show me the invoices for X, show me where you paid for Y. Why was this necessary? Where is the inspector's report for that? And they help us round all that stuff up. It's like herding cats. And every once in a while, the state of California will want something new, and they will help us figure out what that is and how to provide that information. We don't have the capacity in this district. We're somewhere between a large district and a small district. We're in that tween stage where we don't have the capacity to do it all ourselves. For the longest time, Lisa Wiggins, who's with the district for a number of years, she ran point with it, but she spent a good number of hours working with this consultant in order to get those things done. We still have probably about 5 other projects that are in some manner of OPSC, Office of Public School Construction Review, and so they are helping us work through that process. So at this time, because we have not been funded by everything, because we still have projects in the midst, We, as staff, are recommending approval of this contract as we go forward. The last contract that we had with this company was 3 years ago, and I reached out to them recently and said, you know, it's been 3 years, can we get an updated contract? Because we shouldn't let these things go on forever, although they'd be perfectly fine with that. So I'm bringing it back so the board is aware that we're contracting and what exactly they're doing.
So the term of the agreement is for how long?
The term of the agreement is for 3 years, and it can be extended longer than that.
So, because I was trying to figure out components of what their responsibilities are, because it indicated that, now that you've explained this piece, but it also gave us like projections for building and, you know, I see the staff that are designated in supporting, I guess, the team. But mainly their objectives is funding, you know, like finding facility program funding options that are out there. Is that one of their jobs?
That is one of their jobs, to
Also?
identify that. So I will tell you that most recently with the adopted state budget, and on the ballot for November is a school bond. They're very excited about that. They are working on that, and they will help us if there's something in the future we might qualify for. They're letting us know now what we can do, that we might take a project and apply for some state funding, maybe modernization funding as an example. So they're very active in that manner. On the enrollment projections, that is less demographic, much less demographic. It's not what they're doing.
Okay.
They're looking at, and I'll use Rancho Santana as another example, we need to define eligibility for that funding. So what students are most likely to go to that school if we build it, and what does that school boundary look like, and what grade levels are they? And they will ask us annually, how many students in special needs classrooms do we have, because there's additional funding and additional eligibility for special needs classes that we have throughout the district. So they're always on top of that, and if there's an opportunity for us to apply for something, they're the ones that are reading up on that and keeping us going on that and keeping that information current so that we are ready to trigger one of those applications should the need come up. Should we end up with, 500 new students next year? We're gonna have to plan on something, and what does that look like? Well, they're already thinking about some of those stuff and have been gathering that information for us. So I'm not saying we're gonna get that or that we would even be
No,
ready to
but
respond,
we don't know what we're gonna be getting. And I think
Exactly.
that's what I'm trying to figure out, what their ability to see, and gauge to then properly advise us to what we can contend and what funding is out there. If there is additional funding available for
Right.
additional portables or whatever it is that we may need down the road.
So part of that eligibility is to say, well, we've used so many eligibility credits for this project, and now we can use eligibility credits for this. Or there are, like I had said earlier, there are more eligibility credits for special needs classrooms because they need more room, which means that we're going to have the loading standard, if you will be smaller in a special needs classroom, so we'll need more classrooms. So they're doing that, and they're keeping abreast on that, so they ask us for annual updates on that so that they're ready to go.
So that's what I was thinking is how often do they touch base with you? And do they do it after the seabeds, or, is there a special time that they'll touch base with you, or do you touch base with them?
Depending on what the project is, sometimes we're talking to them weekly. Right now, we're working on a project in order to wrap up as much as we can for Rancho Santana, so we've had a lot of conversations with them, and they have been very helpful. There's a particular issue that the state OPSC is looking for, something that we are a third or fourth level recipient of. They are doing the work to the initial owner of what those credits are in order to show the attribution to our district so that we can get funding for them.
Oh, wonderful.
Again, not something we have time to do, and they have those contacts that they can do that. So I would call them a content expert in this particular area, and we're very pleased with the services. At least for the time I've been here, I'm very pleased with the services we've received.
So I can add a little bit of more information that may make it clear. So based on the project team that's listed on the pages, very good question. We don't necessarily work with all 5 people. Right now we have closely work with the president and the director of state funding. Their bios and their names are listed on the document. But what we are doing is that Jack Schrader and Associates has a direct line to the state. We are doing our very, very best to obtain all the reimbursement for Rancho Santana. Sometimes they call and say, okay, you submitted this, but the state needs this within 24 hours. Find the owner prior to Anderson Home, not before that guy.
Oh,
2 owners
The ones
before.
that own the land.
Yes, so we ask. Typically, it's Aaron, Beth, and myself that are behind a closed door for sometimes hours. 24 hours, we get 24-hour notices, we get 48-hour notices, sometimes we get 2-week notices, and we just start researching as best as we can. Beth does the paper research, all the budget research, Aaron makes the phone calls, and I do all the previous historical board meetings, and we are just like, okay, you know, so-and-so, what was that keyword? And the keywords are not what we think it is, it's their lingo, right? So what this does is it gives us a connection to the state so that we don't miss a timeline. And they
And
are
you don't
talking
miss
to
the
the
money.
state, hey, guess what, this opportunity is coming up. Hollister team, I need you to come up with like A through K. And we just start researching it. And then they submit it for us in like actual format that the state wants.
And then answer questions from the OPSC inspectors if there's just a gray area that they go, oh no, it's here. And OPSC is a state organization and they're large and they deal with every school district in the state of California, so they lose things every once in a while.
Sure.
Well, they also can say, I sent it to you on this date, but here it is again. You know, without having to go to us to turn around and
Right.
provide it again. So
It's a really good resource.
Oh, for sure.
Now, do they automatically check all these things, or do we request, say, okay, developer fee justification studies, career technical education? Do they look at everything on this list, or do we request, hey, you have something that you can?
that's a great question, and actually that very first one that you mentioned, the developer fee justification report, when we need one, I bring that contract, a specific contract to you, which you've already approved, and they're working on our developer fee justification report. The state of California every 2 years increases the maximum amount that we're allowed to collect, and so we want to make sure that we can justify it. They create the nexus between, the connection between the fees that we're collecting and how we need them. So as those things were necessary, should we be a high school and we needed to build something for CTE, we would reach out to them and say, can you help us with the CTE, report? So they don't just automatically do that. We know that there are certain ones, but they will also reach out and say, hey, seems like we haven't done this in a while. Are you interested? So they'll prompt us, and maybe we're not interested, and maybe we are. In the case of the developer fees, which was the first one you read, we said, yes, thank you, please send me an agreement. Brought it to the board actually quite a while ago. They should be having that report ready for us within the next month and a half to 2 months. The city has been a little difficult to get everything that they needed from, but I think they're going to be good now.
Good.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
There was a lot of content in this one specific, and, I think it's important for the community to understand the logistics between, what they do and the facilities, and us knowing and staying on top of all of those things, that it's evident that the district is doing those things.
They're good questions.
Well, I think it's really important what Beth brought out, that the state sets the developer fee. We don't.
Well, we have to qualify for a
Right.
certain level.
Right, but it's, a lot of people in our community think that we determine the fees, and we don't have that power.
That's a good point. When we bring the justification study, I'll go into that with a little more detail so that the board can be aware.
Yeah.
Thank you, Beth.
Thank you very much, Beth.
Thank you for pulling that, Liz. It's very,
I agree.
informational.
Yeah.
Okay, so 14A, discussion action items. We
do need a consideration for
Oh, yes,
approval or
we do
denial.
need,
Okay.
so to go back to that, I make a motion that we approve item or contract,
12.
12D as presented.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote, trustee Gris,
Aye.
trustee Martinez.
Aye.
Trustee O'Connor.
Aye.
I'm an aye, 4-0 passes. Okay, item 14A, resolution number 1/24/25, order of elections.
Okay, so the resolution number 1 is a technical resolution that we must adopt during the season of elections. The specifications and the election order and the consolidation request mean that we are choosing to have the election during the November 5th election. And we have in the resolution, and I've updated it to indicate the terms, we have a vacancy that will be coming up, Lisa Marks. And that length of term is a 4-year full term. We have Elizabeth Martinez. That vacancy coming up will be a 4-year full term. And the vacancy for Kim O'Connor, that will be a 2-year full term. The resolution itself indicates that we will be working with the San Benito County Elections Office to they will perform the services for us. We also will be indicating in the resolution the qualifications of a nominee for the positions that I just read. A nominee must be 18 years of age, a citizen of the state of California, a resident of the school district within that trustee area. That is in the notice of elections that has already been submitted to the county department. A registered voter must not have been disqualified by the Constitution or laws of the state from holding a civil office, is eligible to be elected or appointed a member of a governing board of a school district without further qualification. The candidate's statement of qualifications will be limited to 200 words. That is standard for our county. And the San Benito County Elections Department, it's ordered that in the event of a tie vote, the candidate will be selected by lot. That is also key to this resolution. Those are standard selections and some that we've taken historically in our district. This, upon consideration, and if the board approves to approve and sign this later on tonight, will be delivered to the county tomorrow. It is a technical resolution that we have to consider.
I make a motion that we approve resolution 1/24/25, order of elections, specifications of the election order and consolidation request.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call, trustee Gris.
Aye.
Trustee Martinez.
Aye.
Trustee O'Connor.
Aye.
I'm an aye, passes 4-0. Okay, 14B, discussion and approval of board policy and admin regs.
Okay, so tonight we have, Beth has been instrumental in the process of identifying those board policies that are outdated. So it's a labor of love. It's very tedious, and she does a great job in pulling together the list that we recommend the board to review. These board policies and or administrative regulations are currently outdated and are recommended by CSBA to be considered for approval. Some of them have to do with our elections, which is very timely. Some of them have to do with how we notify the public in regards to our public board meeting, how we fill vacancies, how we work along and what our migrant program offers, ceremonies and observances, and so on. There is a wide variety here for the board to consider approving or asking questions on. We have board policies on the summer learning programs and so on. If there's any specific questions, I can do my very best to answer, and I know that Trustee Grist may have some. She raised her finger, so.
Yeah, page, let's see, it's board policy 6000,
Board
page
policy
183.
Okay, concepts and roles.
And on the very first paragraph, it talks about, everything's fine there. But it does not mention, the alignment with the state standards, you know. Aren't we supposed to be following what they do too?
Yes, and I think that the fact that we're a school district inherently assumes that we will be following the state.
Well, you know how some school
Yes.
districts are being attacked because of books or what's in their textbooks, and, you know, we follow the state standards.
Yes, we do.
And should we be covering ourselves that, you know, we're not making this up, we follow the state standards?
So
I'm just thinking of
Yes.
protecting ourselves.
No, I appreciate that. Number 11 says review it, or excuse me, number 8 on that same board policy states review and evaluate the educational programs on the basis of state and federal accountability
Right.
measures,
I saw that.
disaggregated student achievement data and other indicators. So I think by stating that we will be utilizing the compliance portion of what the state and the federal government
Something that
indicate,
covers us, yes.
I would say that that covers us.
Okay.
The fact that we are a local educational agency under this, a public school district under the state of California indicates that we are obligated to follow California law.
See, there's really nothing that says that we truly have to follow it. It's kind of okay. I don't know how the other board
We're
members
governed
feel.
in the state of California, you're compelled to follow state
Well,
requirements.
these school boards that are getting attacked and being sued in the state of California, I'm sure they thought that their board policies covered them.
Well, at any point, right, the district or an entity runs the risk of being criticized or sued. But if we look at instructional materials, board policy AR 6161.1, let's see, let me click on that.
I just want to make sure that
I appreciate it.
We're okay.
You're looking out for the district.
yes,
The
I'm
instructional
looking out for
materials
the
one.
board.
The instructional materials board policy indicates that we follow the state. Cook. So, 1 second while I call it up. It's a little slow, so sorry about that.
That's okay.
If we go to, I don't believe it's on the agenda, but if we go to board policy 61, there we go, I'm getting there. I know you're all very excited to wait to see what it says, so I'm trying to not leave it as a cliffhanger. 6161.1. Okay, 6161.1. Okay, so we have selection and evaluation of instructional materials. If we click on that, the board policy indicates that the board shall select instructional materials for use in grades K through 8 that have been approved by the State Board of Education.
There you go.
Or have, during the district's review process, been determined to be aligned with the state academic content standards adopted by SBE.
Sounds good to me. We're
Okay,
covered.
we're covered.
We're covered.
There's Ed Cook that's tied to that as well.
Good. And then on page 184,
Can't go off pages off your book, remember.
What, board
oh, we're
policy is-
still on the same policy.
Oh, okay.
And we're on number 2, where it says establish graduation requirements.
Yes,
We do not graduate students, we promote them.
yes, we do. I believe that is the standard language, because if you see below the number 2, the
I
reference to
know,
high
it
school
says high school
graduation is
graduation.
crossed off. And yes, and thank you, middle school graduation is crossed off. If that is
Well-
a portion of language that the board would like to change, there could be a recommended
We could put
change.
promote / graduate maybe, but we do not graduate students.
Yeah. This is, again, just standard language from CSBA, and I think that they have to make it to where it fits the majority of their, in a generic sense, the
Right,
majority of their
right. Well,
clients and
should
so
apply
on.
to us, we don't graduate
Yeah.
anybody.
So we can definitely update that.
Okay. And then number 6,
Number 6.
I was kind of confused. Says support the professional staff's implementation of the curriculum by providing consistent policy direction, allocating resources based on educational program priorities, ensuring that collective bargaining agreements do not constrain the district's ability to achieve curricular goals, recognizing staff accomplishments, and including reasonable annual goals related to student learning in the superintendent evaluation process.
I think we do all of that.
It really says a lot of nothing though, doesn't it?
Well, I think that it states a lot of different ideas in one number, like it's a run-on sentence of
Yeah.
multiple ideas.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
it's all things that we
Yeah,
are
we
doing.
do.
Because there's no period after this.
No, there's no period on all of them, I think.
Yeah. I'm like, what is this? It's just a bunch of gobbledygook. Okay, we're good with the gobbledygook? Then I'm good.
Okay.
Well, then we go to, what is this one? It's on the, board policy 6164.2.
Okay. Board policy guidance counseling service
Yes, page 204.
services.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's the wrong page. Page 205.
Okay. Board policy 6164.2.
And it's on the educational counseling program shall include academic counseling and post-secondary services in the areas. And it talks a lot about what the secondary counselors do here, not really what middle school counselors do. And we just leave it in because,
It is part of Ed Code, so our job there has been changing, I would say, requirements, changing expectations, and even laws. For example, we are required to have pathways that go from our district to a high school. So as a district, under Ed Code, we are to help students start to navigate and be ready for that transition to the high school. What we've been doing is having, for example, field trips to the high school, having the ASB high school come, the
right.
team here, the CTE pathways assemblies for the students at the middle schools, and so on. So our job would be to continue to work on these, have our counselors work with the teachers and also the parents
Well,
to,
then, so I agree with that.
Yeah.
So then I was adding like, because we do it also with the 8th grade scheduling. We do
Yes.
it with Avid. We could do more like, have employers come like, idea of like what they could do for a job. I mean, we could really enhance it. We could do a better job,
yes,
but it takes time.
yes.
And I don't have a problem with that. But then when I was looking at the duties of a counselor, there is no listing of doing, and this is a pet peeve of mine, doing schedules. And how do we intermix the mental health and social worker because it brings up also they're working more on the academic, the counselors in the school, and not on the mental health social worker side.
Good.
And do we have
That's
a,
been a shift.
and do we have a good division in our schools on that?
So good question. So a counselor in our district is titled, their job title is school counselor. Their job description delineates what they do. So they're an academic counselor.
But they used to be both.
They used to be
But
both.
there's been a shift.
There has, if we, I think to be completely appropriate with any potential changes, we would want to negotiate that with HESTA if we are going to change the duties of a school counselor.
Right.
Since we've hired the SEL team who also works with students, for example, their social workers or mental health therapists and so on, they will focus more on the SE part, the social emotional part. Some school counselors do sit in on the like restorative circles.
Right.
So if we want to make that shift, we would want to change that through a process.
Well, I don't know if you've gone through negotiations on that or.
No, we have not.
Okay, but it is board policy, and I just wanted to point that out.
So the board policy talks about the educational counseling program. So if we talk about the academic counseling, that would be a school counselor.
Right, but in some school sites, they're using that counselor also to do SE. So because that historically, that's what they have done. So what I'm saying is that I don't know if it needs to be negotiated, whatever. But I think there might be some definition that we need to do, and so that everybody knows what road they're on.
That's a good point, and I can research that more by talking to the
that's all I-
sites. I have not heard any concern of a school counselor performing in a role that includes SE, and that it might be bleeding over to the other job classifications.
I just find it interesting that that's the only job that there's board policy with their actual job description.
I know,
and
I
it's
think it's
true.
very
You know,
strange as
I
well.
just, and if it isn't aligned to what it actually is, what they were hired to do within their scope, right, or responsibilities, that we don't put this in board policy if there's contradictory aspects.
Actually, on page 204 it's number 7 on page 204, it says, using resource-based strategies to promote mental wellness, reduce mental health stigma, and to identify characters. This is in the
I see that.
counselors.
Number 7.
Yeah.
I see that.
So I don't know if number 7 includes where it says personal and mental health counseling. It's a whole section in of itself.
Well, yes, I know, but it's under responsibilities of school counselors include, but are not limited to. This is on page 203.
But what Erica is saying is it slips on down to personal and mental health counseling. A
It's very
school
specific.
counselor, school
See,
psychologist.
this is the one we were talking about. It's this one here.
Okay, but this one I think
It's very clear.
is very clear as to what is done.
Mhm.
See, and so then what is all this new stuff? That, I think that's where there's.
See, we're
if
on
there's
page
not- if it's
203.
not aligned.
And it says
No.
responsibilities of school counselors include but are not limited to. And there's 1 through 11 there.
Right.
And number 7 talks about using research and, we get into the mental health stuff. So I think we have a intersection of duties.
I don't know if it necessarily means that it's a crossover of duties. I think what this is in response to is, for example, new programs. So if we look at number 3, working within an MTSS that uses multiple data sources to monitor and improve student behavior, attendance, engagement, and achievement. So MTSS is a fairly new concept that probably started around 2014-ish.
Right.
Our schools work with MTSS models. It could be that this, new language helps align us with newer educational best practices. Whether or not the school counselor job description states working with a MTSS model, it probably doesn't say it, but most job descriptions are behind the times. I'm going to say that very loosely. For example, if new educational practices come up, we, as districts in general, don't always update a job description to say, for
Right.
example, you're now going to work with MTSS. This is, I think, more aligned to the concept in California of working with students with SEL, working with students on new ed codes, working with students on new guidance and initiatives that the state has. And then when we talk about the secondary, I'm looking sprinkled across this red section of numbers 1 through 11. It talks about secondary students. 7th grade and 8th grade are secondary students, so I can see how it would apply. I know you talked about that a few minutes ago.
Yes, okay, I have no problem what's here. My problem is at a school site, I don't want to have our administration, well, first off, how do we staff? So that's one issue. Do we have, make sure we have to have counselor plus the SE at all times? Do we, so we have that issue. And then, things don't always pop up at the most convenient time.
Mm-hmm.
You know how children, they don't go, oh, I'll mess up at 10 o'clock, and oh, I'll mess up at 11, and no, it all comes at once, or, when it rains, of course. So I just want to make sure the staff knows what they're supposed to be doing, and that the parents know what's happening. This seems confusing to me.
Okay, so I know, for example, that our schools have social emotional supports that are funded through categorical funds, that
Right.
are funded through the LCAP. We have mental health therapists that are funded through ERMS, and we've had those in place. And
Right.
we're very fortunate in that all schools have support.
Yes.
Our comprehensive middle schools have school counselors. When we look at sections numbers 1 through 11, which potentially could be causing the confusion tonight, that is in response to, if we go beneath that number 11, educational and career counseling,
Mm-hmm.
there's a specific ed code. The
Right.
educational counseling program shall include academic counseling and post-secondary services in the following areas. And it has the ed
Right.
code that pertains to number 1 through 11, ed code 49600.
Mm-hmm.
So what I see these updates as is that CSBA is responding to change in ed code or a new ed code.
Mm-hmm.
I think that what we're doing is that we're meeting not only the needs of the students, we have school counselors, their duties still remain the same. We have the SEL team, and one other position that we haven't talked about but is referenced at the beginning or the second paragraph is psychologists. Psychologists can do
Oh, yeah.
interventions and so on.
Well, and also the counselor could be doing things like setting up job fairs. It seems to me, on page 205, that they could be setting up job fairs
Sure.
and things like this to help with, doing things that'll help them with careers and opening up their.
I looked up the definition from AXA
Mm-hmm.
for a school counselor. School counselors are certified licensed educators that are making, they have degrees in school counseling, making them uniquely qualified to address all students' academic, career, and social emotional development
Mhm.
needs.
Well, that's what they used to do.
Yeah, but the credential they have allows them to do
Still,
all of it.
And then that goes
Yeah.
along with the second
Mhm.
paragraph of this, if we scroll to the second paragraph at the first page of this board policy, the superintendent or designee shall ensure that all persons employed to provide direct school counseling, school psychology, school social work services, child welfare and attendance services, and or to implement equitable school programs and services that support students' academic and social emotional development, college and career readiness, and shall possess the appropriate credential from the Commission on Teacher Credentialing. I think we're all saying the same thing
Yes, yes.
on this policy.
Yeah.
Well, but the other issue is that a lot of time our counselors get used to do discipline. And I think there should be a discussion within the cabinet about, do you want counselors just doing discipline when they could be doing a lot of other things?
I know that we have worked in the last few years to make sure that our comprehensive middle school teams, because that is where the counselors are, that it's our administrators that handle discipline. Yes, can a counselor intervene and perhaps say like, hey, I heard you're having a bad day, like what's going on? Or a student check-in, but the disciplinary actions come from the administrators. That is clear because an administrator or designee has to sign off on discipline.
Okay,
Good.
okay, any more discussion?
I think I'm done.
Okay, let's quickly have a motion.
I make a motion that we approve all of the board policies as presented in item 14B.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, roll call. Trustee Gris.
Aye.
Trustee Martinez.
Aye.
Trustee O'Connor.
Aye.
Aye passes 4-0. 14C, discussion and approval of annual declaration of need for fully qualified educators for 24-25.
This is a technical requirement that we submit every year. By allowing us to consider this tonight for approval, the HR staff will be able to process the emergency permits sooner rather than later. So what will happen is if the board approves this document tonight, this will go to the CTC, and anyone working on an emergency permit, we can process that through the CTC, the California Commission of Teaching Credentialing, so that they can be issued that permit. We are guesstimating, we know how many we need as of today, but we're guesstimating for the future because this covers the entire year. It's always best to guess a higher number than to have to come back and say, oops, we need 5 more, and so on. So this is something that will benefit the district in the long run. Do you have any questions?
Okay, is there a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the annual declaration of need for fully qualified educators for the 24-25 school year.
I'll second it.
Okay, roll call. Trustee Gris.
Aye.
Trustee Martinez.
Aye.
Trustee O'Connor.
Aye.
I'm an aye, passes 4-0. 14D, discussion and approval of contract with Kaya R.O. Hardin.
Okay, so at R.O. Hardin, we have several projects going on currently. This particular contract will allow for the broken slide that has been out of commission at the main playground area of R.O. Hardin to be replaced. We know how important it is for students to run around, to have equipment that they could utilize. Unfortunately, at the end of last year, this was cordoned off so that they did not have access to a slide. The contract for this particular project is $24,337.71. It includes the removal of the old slide, the actual slide itself, and the installation of a new slide. If approved, we're able to start in August at R.O. Hardin with a new slide for the students to enjoy.
Any discussion?
Is there a pour and play?
There is pour and play that was installed last year. What will happen is that the pour and play will not be impacted. We will be working with, the contract is approved with the Kaya Group, that will be able to install it in a manner that does not disrupt or destroy the pour-and play.
Great. Any more discussion? Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the contract with KYA at RO Hardin slide replacement,
Second?
14D.
Is there a second? Second. Okay, roll call, trustee Chris,
Aye.
trustee Martinez.
Aye.
Trustee O'Connor. Aye. I'm an aye, passes 4-0. 14E, discussion and approval of contract with Kaya, RO Hardin hardscape upgrade.
Okay, so hardscape, what is hardscape? So when we look at the RO Hardin location, which we've all been to, we see that there are fissures, there are cracks, there's uneven surface levels that are there. What we have considered is the liability of the district. Should there be an injury to anyone entering or exiting the front parking lot, the side parking lot, and the blacktop in the play area. It is all damaged. When we modernized RO Hardin School, we modernized the buildings, some of the buildings, but we did not upgrade the blacktop where the basketball courts are.
Yeah.
So there are, if you're familiar with the campus, you know how many cracks there are. And this,
It slopes,
it
it's got a
slopes.
really weird
yes,
slope.
there's all sorts of different things.
Yeah.
That can happen. Should the board consider and approve the agenda item tonight, we will be able to finalize, the idea is to finalize this project before school starts. It's a mega project. If you look at the square footage out there,
It's incredible.
it is incredible. A preliminary contract was approved, and if you've driven by RO Hardin, there might be something you notice that is missing.
Yes.
Yes.
And the
yes.
reason is so that we can definitely just do this in an appropriate way that will last for years to come. For safety reasons, staff is recommending that we move on this very quickly. And the total amount is $746,000, 294 cents for the work to upgrade, to remove, to dig out, however we want to say it, the blacktop, the asphalt, and pour in.
Is this gonna be done in time?
It will be, it's projected to get done in time before the start of the school.
What
If we
about the
could-
roots?
The roots, the trunk itself,
Uh-huh.
the company will come back and take that out. We wanted to make sure that they had sufficient time to level the tree and do some other work around RO Hardin and Sunny Slope, which were part of the consent agenda items tonight, but they will come back and take that out
Take
so
that
that we
out.
can properly
Awesome.
lay the pavement, asphalt.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any more discussion?
I move that we approve contract with KYA RO Hardin hardscape upgrade.
Well, second. Okay, trustee Gris.
Aye.
Trustee Martinez.
Aye.
Trustee O'Connor. I am an aye, passes 4-0. 14F, discussion and approval of contract with Kaya, Rancho San Justo Courtyard pavement.
Okay. In the same vein, we went through the recommended projects that came from the facilities committee that we had, and part of the priorities were safety and path of travel. We want our pedestrians to be safe. We want our students to be safe. We identified a section of Rancho San Justo, the courtyard. It is the central location behind the library that is surrounded by all of the main buildings and is surrounded by classrooms. There's classrooms on the side of it that our students in specialized programs attend. They utilize this section for those specialized program students to eat, to interact, to socialize, and so on. This is interesting. This particular area of Rancho San Justo not only has concrete, but it also has like pavers, yes, with changes in perhaps
They've
because
been
of
there since
earthquakes
1990.
or what shifting, you know, of the
Yeah.
ground. Some of them, and a lot of them, I would say, are uneven. There's cracking in the pavement. It is not a path that I would say that is conducive to safe travel. So it is our recommendation tonight that the board consider and approve this contract that would allow for us to do the similar thing that we're doing to R.O. Hardin, but in this smaller section. Make it very safe for staff and students and anyone walking in that area. The other thing I forgot to mention is that there are the quick cafes down there.
Yeah.
So a portion of our students go there every day to get their
Right.
food and come back. So it is heavily trafficked. To upgrade and the courtyard pavement. This contract itself is.
I know there wasn't a price listed there. on the-
Yes, so if I
Yeah,
go into the
open it.
contract, it's $159,280.61.
Wow.
It will remove all of the old surface areas, and it will ensure that the surfaces are redone in this courtyard.
And the funding is coming from which?
These are all coming from the facilities fund. I'm trying to think of this specific. It is
It says goal 3 facility.
Okay, no, but it,
deferred maintenance.
okay, because I think that's what we had asked before, like where the funding was
Yes.
going to be pulled from, so we
Yes.
have an idea of.
We will be reporting back to the board either in September or August because we want a comprehensive report as to what projects we started off with that we had identified, which ones have been done, and then how much money is left.
Right.
Because the other projects we had, I think, designated for Rancho was the painting of the gym,
Yes,
and then I think the covers for the
yes.
eating place
Right,
were
yes,
replaced already.
right,
yes.
Has the gym been painted?
The gym itself has,
'Cause I think
can't
he was
remember.
saying he wanted to wait for the summer to do that.
Yes.
When there weren't.
I
any-
believe they started that, but I can definitely check into that and get back to
And then
you.
the awning.
The awning
was
is done.
Oh, that was
Yeah.
done.
The awning is done at Lab Lane as well.
Yeah.
Good.
Yes.
I don't know if it's as good as what we had before, but well, I guess we'll
Yeah.
see, right?
All we can do is hope.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, any more discussion? Is there a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the KYA Rancho San Justo courtyard pavement.
I'll second.
Okay, trustee Gris,
Aye.
trustee Martinez.
Aye.
Trustee O'Connor. I'm an aye, passes 4-0.
Okay.
14G, discussion and approval of contract with Kaya Rancho Santana Concrete and Install.
Okay, so Rancho Santana is our newest school, and we have had on hand Moto tables. Moto tables are those tables, they are present at R.O. Hardin, they are present at Mays, they are present at Rancho San
Rancho.
Justo. It typically has the logo of the school or the name of the school, and it allows for students to congregate around them to eat lunch. It allows for teachers to take their students outside and perhaps conduct a lesson out there. It allows students to, during break, maybe play cards or so on. So the Rancho Santana tables have been in storage. Because of certain factors at Rancho Santana, we require specialized installation due to the soil at Rancho Santana. And with this contract, we would be able to install the tables, the Moto tables that the student nutrition already purchased. And the contract itself for this work is priced at $27,743. I know the administration is really looking forward at Rancho Santana to get these installed because it will help with student behaviors, it'll help with monitoring the students, and it will give students space to kind of spread out and not be maybe congregated in what could potentially be a behavior conducive to more appropriate behavior.
I'll make a motion that we approve with KYA Rancho Santana concrete and install.
I'll second. Okay, trustee Gris,
I,
trustee Martinez,
Aye.
trustee O'Connor.
Aye.
I'm an aye, passes 4-0. 14H, discussion and approval of change order number 2Q project, Sunny Slope.
Okay. I'm not sure if we have a public comment, or we,
It's for 14F?
14, okay.
14G. G?
Oh,
Is that what I wrote?
it should be G.
For what?
The item that just passed.
Yes.
well, let's do it.
Hold on.
This is 14F on
I just
Rancho
didn't get it up there in time.
San Luis.
So was it for the Santana, Rancho Santana?
It was, actually, I wanted to ask a question about the Oro Garden, the Rancho Santanas, I didn't know where to,
Oh, the Rancho San Justo,
yes, I'm sorry, yes.
So all the ones that we've already
the
approved,
lunch thing?
I just have a question.
except Kathy. Kathy's president.
We
Okay,
have such a big
Go ahead.
audience.
It's up to Kathy.
It's not combative, I promise.
Hello, board members. Thank you for letting me go backwards. My name is Betsy LeMay. I'm a representative of HESA. First, I want to say thank you for repairing that for the RO Hardin students. I know it's really important for the kids to have something safe to play on, and it looks so nice over there with putting in that pack and play. Was that what you know, the AstroTurf last year?
pour and play.
Yes, pour and play. There you go. I gotta admit, I was a little shocked at the cost for the resurfacing of Arlo Hardin. It was about over $700,000.
That's for the parking lot and all of the other areas. That's,
And the blacktop.
and the
That
blacktop.
blacktop
That's a lot.
is
So it's not just the playgrounds, the
No,
parking
no,
lot
no,
and.
No.
It's a lot.
It's
Okay,
the
because then the
concrete.
next cost was like 150,000, and I was like, wow, that's a big difference.
Yes,
Yes.
that's why.
Okay, and we already have that money set aside in deferred maintenance, so we're not taking a different hit on
No.
that?
No,
Yeah.
we've got
This
it
is
covered.
not
That's why,
unrestricted.
yeah.
It's not unrestricted dollars.
And we probably should do something in this place, this parking
Oh.
lot, there too, coming
Thank
from
you.
personal.
Students first, that's
What about clumsy teachers? Anyhow, I just wanted to check in, I just wanted to, that was a little, wow, at first, but if we've got the money set aside and it's definitely gonna make it safer for our parents and students, then.
And our staff, it really is.
Yeah.
If you look at the RO Hardin front parking lot, it is not something that is easy to trek when your hands are full, I would say.
Well, and then the blacktop in the back, it's just, it's a hazard.
It's a lot of square footage, it's a lot of material, it's
And
a
it
lot
should
of,
have been done when they,
Yeah.
Demo.
yeah.
when
a lot
they
of demo.
did the remodel.
I'm sure.
We didn't have it in the budget at the bond, with the bond, we didn't have that calculated into it. We only were looking at the building when we did the bond, remember?
Yes, it's been a long time.
It's been a while.
Yes, all right, I just wanted to check in, that's all, I was just a little,
Yeah.
at first I was like, wow, that's a lot of money, but if we're set and we have it and it's for the safety of everyone, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, Betsy.
Thank you.
Okay, 14H, discussion approval of change order number 2 Cube, Sunny Slope.
Okay, so during any construction project, sometimes things come up that require change orders. This is one of those cases. So when we plan for these cubes, part of our goal was to also think about future expansion. So we have set up, for example, electricity, plumbing, underground, so that it is, I would say, a cost, it is conducive to saving future costs, should we ever be able to put portables or cubes or any other kind of
Whatever we
building
can
there.
afford, yes.
Yes, whatever we can afford. So what we're looking at is that this change order allows for the land to not have this stubbed out, type of water pipes or plumbing pipes or what may be, right? Those are gonna stay underground. This change order allows for the flattening of the ground to make it safe so that anybody that wants to walk in that space will not have to have an incline or a decline. They will be able to access that space. The pre-work has already been done for any future expansion. This change order would allow for the surface area to remain smooth and safe for pedestrian travel. If we don't do this, then it will be a little mound out there, probably a little dusty mound. You know, when we think about the earth, it's already been moved and so on. I think that not only is it safer, it's also aesthetically pleasing when something is finished. What we have in the actual change order is, there's recommendations. If you look at the actual document in of itself, staff along with our contractor have selected the yellow highlighted, which we keep in mind cost savings. We keep in mind what is most conducive to finishing the project and what is keeping our budget and bottom line in place. And this is two of the most inexpensive options that would allow for us to meet a flat surface in that area.
My only question was, it's similar to like HDLA where we had that dirt.
The crescent
That-
moon?
Yes, you know, that, you know, during the rainy season just became this huge puddle of mud for the kids to jump in and go home nice and muddy. Until we actually fixed it, right?
Yes.
And that's, I think, to put it, you know,
Yes.
bluntly, is
What we're
what,
preventing.
what are we, you know,
What are we gonna put
thinking
down?
about when we're, you know, putting
Yes.
something down on the ground so that when it starts to rain, we don't have, you know, we have either the gravel or something to keep it so the kids are not getting in there and getting all muddy or whatever, you know,
So-
during the rainy season.
That's a very good question. So the dirt itself would be graded and compacted down, and then mulch will be applied to that area. The reason why is that could be removed. For example, if we identify funding in the next year or two where we can start to build again, we need something that's not permanent. We need something that's not concrete. We need something that's not as quickly biodegradable. I know that mulch can last several years.
It depends.
It depends on the
how
mulch.
much and,
Yeah.
and how, the
Um,
quality of it,
yes.
yeah, but it's,
This would be a way for it
Last.
not to stay as dirt.
This is a little bit of forward thinking here.
I just don't know how, you know, how it will hold up during the rainy season. For the kids to get in.
Yes,
You know, because kids are kids. They're
Yes.
gonna get in places they're not supposed
of
to get
course,
into.
of course. This is one of those options that it is a one-time cost with the forward thinking of, let's pretend that it's 10 years from now and we haven't had money. So if mulch needs to be replaced in any other part of the district, we have our groundskeeping staff that could apply mulch. It is something that we can
Upkeep.
consider an upkeep through our own personal staff instead of calling out a contractor.
Right.
We're out of mulch, or the kids picked
Yeah,
it
we'll
up and
see
threw it
how it
away.
holds up,
Right,
you
yeah,
know,
right.
this winter, you know, and it's a good alternative. Not the little, you know, I was thinking the little pea gravel sometimes, you know, as a, you know, for hardscapes, people have gone to like the little pea gravels. Yeah, as an alternative.
I think the mulch is less expensive.
It is, it's
Mulch
going
is
to
less
be,
expensive.
definitely, it's just
We
how long
do-
it'll last.
Yes,
Yeah.
we have had, unfortunately, circumstance of rock thrown at the Sunny Slope
Yes.
multi-purpose room, which
Yeah.
did cost us a bit to fix that
Yeah.
window, so
Yeah.
we're trying to find a safe alternative that is
True.
not expensive, that if we
Okay.
needed to upkeep,
Yeah.
our staff could jump in.
Okay, any more discussion on 14H? Is there a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the change order number 2 Q project for Sunny Slope.
I will second that.
Okay, roll call, trustee Chris,
Aye.
trustee Martinez.
Aye.
Trustee O'Connor. I'm an aye, passes 4-0. 14I, discussion and approval of change order number 2, Cube Project Lab Lane.
Okay, this is very similar to Sunny Slopes. It would do the very similar function. We want to leave this safe. We know that at Lab Lane, there are 4 classrooms facing the cube on that side of the J wing. We know that that typically is used as the route to exit to the bus. This contract, or this change order is $8,430. It all depends, right, on the square footage and so on. What we have looked at here is that any vegetation that's left, and we have kind of like crabgrass out there, I would call it, that would be stripped away. The land would be graded, and it would be compacted for the same type of solution, mulch, and then the total cost again is $8,430.98. It's the same outcome, and they'll look very similar.
Discussion? Is there a motion?
Make a motion that we approve the change order number 2 for the Cube Project at Lab Lane.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call vote, trustee Chris,
Aye.
trustee Martinez, trustee O'Connor.
Aye.
I'm an aye, passes 4-0. 14J, discussion and approval of change order number 3, Cube Project, Calaveras.
Okay, this one is for Calaveras. It is similar to the previous 2. It will allow for safe path of travel for Calaveras in the spots that are assigned to potential future growth. We have here the option of, again, stripping the site of any vegetation west of the building, grading the land, compacting it, and application of mulch. And that total comes out to $8,351 as a change order. We would want to, particularly in this, at this site, make sure, because it's so close to the playground, that we would want to not have rocks. We did have some concerns with rocks in that area this last school year.
Yeah, because
We do have rocks. So the alternative is mulch, which it goes airborne, it's not gonna break a window.
Is there discussion? Is there a motion?
I make a motion that we approve change order number 3, Cube Project Calaveras.
Second.
Hey, trustee Chris,
Aye.
trustee Martinez,
Aye.
trustee O'Connor.
Aye.
I'm an aye, pass 4-0. 14K, discussion and approval of change order number 4, Cube Project, Calaveras.
So Calaveras, very near and dear to my heart, has presented itself with many, not many, but some requirements that have come from DTSC, that have come from the fire marshal, that would require us to create a fire lane. Not just a fire lane that has gravel or mulch or anything like that. It has to be a legitimate fire lane. So I'm going to go through these. They are connected with each other, but I'm going to go into change order number 4. Change order number 4 meets the requirements of the Division of the State Architect. As we know that with any construction project, the DSA is heavily involved. The inspector comes out or is there, regularly inspecting and connecting with the state. So we have a requirement placed on us that we have to meet a certain thickness of the required fire access lane.
Is that on the very edge to where
The
new
houses,
housing?
yes,
So that little road going back
yes.
has to now be paved?
It has to be thicker, and it has to be asphalt, I believe.
13 inches, right?
It has to be,
It's gonna be aggregated base.
oh, there it is.
Mhm.
It has to be 13 inches.
Wow.
So,
Interesting.
yes, thank you, Luis. So this is, in the document there itself, it says that it has to be aggregate base rock thickness to be increased to 13 inches of compacted virgin or non-recycled, class 2 aggregate base compacted to 95% relative compaction.
Wow.
What that means is more. That's more.
Yes.
It is a requirement in order to move forward with the cube.
So a
We are
fire
required.
truck can go on it.
A fire truck has to
It
go
weighs
on.
75,000 pounds.
Yes. The cost of meeting this requirement with the state is included here, and it is $56,630.70. The fire lane is something that is a requirement from the state, and so far, it's something that has not come up in our other cube
I was
sites,
gonna
which is
say,
good.
yeah.
I think that it is to be able to access the closest fire hydrant as quickly as possible, and to have the entrance for the fire trucks to come in through Central Avenue, through the backside, and not through the school.
So the backside, you mean by the, where the field is?
Field.
Field, it's
So-
gonna cut away at the field,
Oh.
By the houses that
by
are.
the new
Right.
houses.
So is this, can we ask if this fire lane, is required because the houses were built?
It's required because we need access to the fire hydrants.
Yeah, just briefly, so, anytime they go out there, they do a flow test on the fire hydrant to see which one is the closest. And then they try to get a route, if the route is not accessible to get to said buildings, then that's when it has to be built. You guys were asking why we didn't have to do that. The other ones are built and have the fire hydrant close enough and the trucks have access to get in. Whereas Calaveras, like we have the entrance in the front,
Right.
so there's no way to get through the back. So then, they have to build a fire lane. We estimated 4 inches. They came back and said, no, it's 3. That's the main.
But the developer of those homes doesn't have to kick in, because if the homes weren't there,
It's our
irrelevant.
property.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if the homes are there.
Yeah.
They're focused on
Yeah, it's the school,
kick-
them getting onto
Mhm.
campus to
All right.
And
put out a
remember,
fire.
building at schools is a higher threshold, like we have more requirements than a private property.
Yeah.
And it's
The
accessibility.
development, yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And there has to be a gate or something at that end,
In the backside.
on the backside too.
Okay, any more discussion? Is there a motion?
now is this on K? Are we doing
K.
K?
We're
Yes.
doing K.
Does he miss 5? Does
There
he
is no
jump to
5 in
6?
there.
Is 6 supposed to be 5? Or are we missing a 5?
You're not missing the front.
We were on K right now,
Because
correct?
we're on
Yeah.
number 4.
Okay.
We're on K and then we're gonna go to L.
I know, but what I'm saying is there's an order change for Calaveras numerically,
Oh,
3,
number
4, and now
number
we're
6.
jumping to 6.
I know
Did
that
we
this
miss
is-
5?
There may be a 5, but what we are presenting tonight are the priorities that are, if we don't approve, then the project gets stuck.
Delay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't
Yeah.
want anything delayed.
So number 5 isn't
Number 5 is
not
up
a-
and coming,
Okay.
that it's not, something
Rushed.
that'll delay the project right now.
Got it. Okay.
Looking
Did
for a
did someone
motion?
make a
I'll
motion?
make a motion to approve, cube order number 4 for Calaveras, item K.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, roll call, trustee Gris,
I,
trustee Martinez.
Aye.
Trustee O'Connor.
Aye.
I'm an aye, passes 4-0. Our last discussion item is discussion and approval of change order number 6, Cube Project Calaveras.
So once we think that the fire lane is done and agreed to, the state comes back to say that we have to widen it by 5 feet.
5 additional feet?
The fire access lane will need to be widened by 5 feet. So if we look at the document, and we go into the document itself, changes in scope, widen fire access road by 5 feet. strip additional sod, excavate and export additional soil to make subgrade, import and place additional virgin AB, which is the aggregate
Right.
base.
Right.
So
But don't we have sprinkler systems? I mean,
It-
that,
it may,
our guys are gonna
have
stub
to,
it out
yeah.
and bring them in and, you know, 'cause
it will
that would be
impact,
our responsibility
that's our
to do that.
responsibility.
Okay. Wow.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Okay, any discussion? Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve change order number 6Q project for Calaveras.
I'll
Item
second.
11.
I'll second.
Trustee Grist?
Aye.
Trustee Martinez?
Aye.
Trustee O'Connor?
Aye.
I'm an aye, passes 4-0. Okay. Thank you. On to item 15, board member reports.
I already discussed the thing about summer school, and many of us went to the shovel.
Groundbreaking.
Groundbreaking. And that was a lot of fun at Sunny Slope, and I don't know if Kevin is the president or.
Yes,
What is Kevin? What is his title? Is he the
the
president?
regional manager.
He came up to me and just out of the blue complimented all of the management people that he has interacted with within our school district, and what a wonderful, friendly group we had, and how nice it is to work with our group. And it was such a pleasure, and it's not very often that he gets to do that. And I said, well, our philosophy is it's all about the kids, student first, and that's what we care about, and we're doing it for them. And he said, well, it really shows. And he said he would talk to his employees about that what we do is all for the children, and that's why we're here. So it was a really nice compliment that I was able to pass on to Superintendent Sanchez, and I hope she did pass it on. But I think the public needs to know that other contractors think we're pretty good, and that we work well with others. That's all I have to say.
I have nothing to report.
Kim?
I just enjoy going to the, what's it called?
Groundbreaking.
The shoveling ceremony. The groundbreaking ceremony. And I just can't wait to see these rooms
Yeah.
built and
Yes.
in action.
Yes.
The
Yep.
kids are gonna have so much fun. What an enrichment for them
Yep.
to be able to have.
For our
that.
community.
Oh, yeah, it's just awesome.
I also went to the groundbreaking, and
Shoveling.
I enjoyed meeting the whole Kaya group.
Yes.
I mean, we've only met as a board, Luis and, was it Kevin? that
Kevin,
was here? And it was nice to meet the whole group. And what a friendly, compatible, it was just a really nice group, a
Yeah.
nice company. I think it's, we're lucky that Erin has a relationship with them, and that we picked them. I really think they're a wonderful company, so, thank you.
Yep.
And thank you for being here,
Yes.
you know,
There's
because,
a lot of these things.
yes, well,
can save
it
your
it says a
fire.
lot about your company being here
Yes.
at these types of meetings, because, you know, you're the expert in the field and know exactly what's happening, the logistics and the whys, right, and can answer the whys, so I appreciate that you're here.
And we're such an exciting group.
We like to go to
We're
shoveling.
very inquisitive.
Okay, any future agenda items?
I think we've
Anybody?
covered them all.
Last
I
time.
think, yeah.
Any announcements? I will, we'll get back on the particular date for the training? We'll send that out right away.
Oh, yeah.
Which
Yeah.
date?
Yeah. What you decide.
Yeah, and, anything else for reminders? No? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So
Yes.
moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Did we get a
motion?
second? I made the
Yes.
motion. Kim seconded.
We're just so ready to get out of
We're
here.
like, yes.
Let's go. Adjourning at 7:15.